Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 1 of the Christmas Craft Countdown for 2021. I'll be revealing a brand new Christmas themed craft project every day for the next 20 days. To get all the SVGs and other design assets so that you can make these projects along with me, head to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021 to sign up. We're kicking things off for day 1 with a layered poinsettia design. This is a really pretty paper craft project which has lots of different colours and layers in it. In this video, I'll show you how you can measure your shadow box frames to fit the poinsettia in, and then we'll put it into Cricut Design Space, cut everything out, and I'll show you how to stick it all together. Let's get started. First, you need to download the cutting file to make this project. If you aren't already signed up to the Christmas Craft Countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021 to join. If you have already purchased the countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/login to log in to your account and access all of the Christmas Craft Countdown files. Once logged in, click into the Christmas Craft Countdown. Scroll down the page and all the files will become available on the date specified. The files do not expire, so you can download them at any time. The file for this project is under the Day 1 heading. After downloading the cutting files, you'll need to unzip the folder that they come in. If you aren't sure how to do that, check the link in the description of this video, which contains instructions on how to unzip folders on Windows computers, Macs, and Android and iPhone devices. Once you've downloaded the folder and unzipped it, it's time to upload the SVG into your cutting machine software. I have a Cricut machine, so I'm using Cricut Design Space. Create a new file in Cricut Design Space and then go over to Upload on the left-hand side and click it. Then click into Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the file on your computer, or you can drag and drop it in, which is what I'm going to do. The file you need for Design Space is the one called svg_poinsettia_craftwithsarah.svg. So all of my SVG files start with SVG in the file name so that it's really easy to see which one you need. Don't try to upload any of the other files into Design Space because they won't work. It's only the SVGs that will work in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to drag in that file and then let go. And then you should get this preview, which looks like this. So you can see all of the layers are on top of each other, exactly where they would be once you've cut it out and stuck it together. If your screen looks different to this, so if you can see each individual layer completely separated on the screen, that probably means you've uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, click Cancel down on the bottom right, and then try again and make sure you upload the one which starts SVG in the file name. When yours is looking like this, go ahead and press Upload, and that will upload the file to the Design Space servers. So now we've got it over here, and I can click it to get this green border, and then on the bottom right, press Add to Canvas. So here is my file, and now I can resize it so that it will fit in my shadow box. Let's measure the frame to find out how big to make the poinsettia design in Cricut Design Space. So I know that I've got some really pretty Christmas vintage themed papers that I could put in this frame to add some different squares of background paper. So I don't want my design to be too close to the edges. So I'm just roughly putting my ruler over the frame, and I reckon about 6.5 inches wide is going to be perfect for this poinsettia. That'll give me a good border around the edge to see my background papers, but it means the flower will still be quite big inside the frame. So that's the size I'm going to use. If you're new to sizing layered designs to fit into a frame, check out the description of this video underneath, as I've put a link in there to a separate tutorial which is all about how to perfectly size your designs for your frame every single time. My poinsettia is going to be 6.5 inches in width, so I can click on the design, and then over at the top in the width and the height box, make sure the little padlock icon is closed. So if it's showing as open, just click it and that will close it. And then I'll type 6.5 into the width and press enter on my keyboard. And then the height will change in proportion so everything stays looking how it's supposed to. This is now ready for me to cut, so I can go ahead and click Make It. Design Space will split out all of the different colours onto different mats, so you can go through and see what you've got here. If you want to use a different sized piece of paper, then click onto that colour, and then in the drop down, choose the paper that you're going to be using. You can also drag and drop the shapes around to get them to fit into less space, and you can also rotate them again to make sure it fits even less card. So I'm going to just scroll down and show you these ones. So Design Space has put these on different mats at the moment, but I think they could fit on one. I don't want to have to use two separate pieces of card for this. So in the drop down, I'll change it to A4, which is my paper size. And then on the second one of this colour, go up to the three little lines in the top left and press Move Object. I can then click the other mat that's in the same colour and press Confirm. And now I can move them about. And you see, actually, these two pieces do fit on one sheet of card. So sometimes Design Space doesn't always get it right, and there is a way to move them. And I like doing this because it means ultimately you use less pieces of card. And that's great because it means then you've got some left over for another crafty project another day. When you're finished moving everything about on your mats and changing all the paper sizes, press Continue, and then that will connect to your Cricut machine, and you can follow the instructions on screen to cut everything out from your cardstock. Here's my poinsettia design all cut out, and I've just placed all of the layers on top of each other to check I'm happy with the colours and to make sure I haven't missed anything. So let's pull these apart and start sticking it together. There are quite a lot of layers on this design to make up all of the beautiful foliage around the edges, but our bottom layers are these two. And you just want to make sure that you've got everything lined up properly. So we're lining up sort of the edges of some of those leaves. And for this, I'm going to use 3D foam pads. My preference for foam pads are these ones from Dot and Dab, but there are loads of different brands available. I like these ones because the paper peels up easily to release all of the stickiness underneath, and they're nice and easy to cut smaller. So here are some I've already cut, and I can just turn my layer upside down and start adding the foam pads. So with this design, you want to make sure you've got your foam pads in all of the little sticky out places around the edge so that they don't catch on anything later on and rip. But as well as putting them in all of these edge bits, you also want to put a good amount in the middle. And that's because it will give it stability and stop it from sagging under the weight of the other layers of cardstock which are going to sit on top. If you didn't put any pieces in the middle, then you'd find that the middle of this piece would sort of dome downwards with the other bits on top, and it just won't look as good when it's finished, and it won't pop out and be as 3D as it will be with all of these bits in the middle. So it is worth taking the time to add those few extra foam pads to get a better effect at the end. Just peeling off all of these little bits of paper to release the sticky of the foam pads, and then I can line it up again. This one is quite tricky to line up, this whole design, because there's so much going on with all of the different leaves and things. So I'm going to get to where I think that's lined up, and then just gently drop it down. Check I'm happy, which I think I am. But if you hadn't quite lined it up right, then because we've only just gently placed it down, you could peel it back off without damaging anything and then give it another go. But I am happy with that, so I'm just going to push it down to seal it. The next layer is a darker green to form the detail on those holly leaves, and this one I'm going to glue. So let's turn it upside down, and the glue I use is called Collall. I like this because it doesn't bend or warp the card like other glues can do. This is available quite readily in the UK. I actually get it on Amazon. But if you are kind of in the USA or other places and you can't get the Collall glue, then other glues which are really good and don't warp the card are Art Glitter Glue. It doesn't actually have any glitter in it, it's just a name, and Bearly Art Glue, and that's spelt like the animal bear with an ly on the end. I put the glue into these needle tip applicator bottles with a really thin nozzle, which means I can get the glue really easily into all of these tiny little shapes on the back of my layer of cardstock. So I'm going to go around the edge and stick these on. Oops, don't do what I did and just glue your table through the gaps. That wasn't ideal. I'm just going to wipe that up, or I'm going to stick everything to it. So here's my design, and then let's try and work this out. So I've managed to get it out of line with everything. There we go, that's right. Okay. If you do get stuck with which way around a layer should go, then check out the download folder you got from my website, as there is a PDF in there called Assembly Guide, and that contains pictures of all of the layers separately, and it has the order in which to stick them together and the direction they should go up in. And it also tells you which of the layers to put with glue and which with foam. So now we've done that one, we can move on to the next one, which is these little mistletoe berries. Just going to get it in the right way. I haven't printed out that assembly guide, so I am flying blind a little bit, but never mind. So this one I'm going to use foam again. Turn it upside down. Put some foam pads on. You want to be careful with your foam that you don't go in any of the little gaps in the card, and also that you don't stick it over the edge of the card, because if you do that, you'll be able to see that foam sticking over the edge or over a gap when you turn the bit of card the other way up, and we don't want to be able to see any of this foam. So do take a little bit of time to position it where it's not going to be seen when you turn it over. Just peeling these tops off. And then let's see if I've still got this roughly lined up in place. Yeah, I'm using this pointy leaf as my kind of guide, but I think that's going to disappear in a minute when I add the next layer. But for now, that's working quite well to help me line everything else up. Okay, next we have this green one, which is adding the green to those leaves. Let's try and work this out. I think that's my big pointy one. Yeah, there we go. All right, this one I'm going to glue. So just add this to the back. Putting a little bit in the top bits of these leaves to make sure they get a good stick too. And some in the middle. Okay. The nice thing about glue is you've got a bit of wiggle room to line it up. Yeah. So now we have a red layer, which is the berries that you can see along here, and I think I will use foam for this one. This particular layer is probably one that you could get away with using either foam or glue for, so it is up to you. Just add this on. I really like seeing how the design sort of comes to life and starts popping out as you add the different layers. So, you know, from the bottom you can't really tell what it is, and then as everything comes on top, the picture starts to become clearer. So that's my red layer, and stick that one on. That one was quite easy. And next we're back to leaves. There. Now there's only a tiny bit of that red that's going to show through just to add those berries. So for this one I don't think we need foam again, as otherwise it's going to get too thick by the time we've added everything together. So I'm just going to glue this one. There. And then stick this one on. So we've just got those berries poking through. And then we have a darker green of those leaves. And again, this one is going to be glued. Okay. You might need to turn them round and round until you get the direction right. There we go. And now we're on to the actual flower part of the poinsettia. And for the very base bit, which is this one, I'm going to use foam because I want that flower to really be popping off. Just going to try and work out which way it goes. That way. So let's put some foam on here. I'm kind of running out of foam pads, so I'm going to have to place an order and hope they come really quickly so that I can finish off all of the Christmas craft countdown projects. In a few days there's a very big project coming up which needs lots of foam pads. And if you followed the Halloween craft countdown, then you'll probably be able to guess what's coming. I won't say any more than that. There we go, that's that one. And now I can add the next red layer, and this one will be glued. I've just remembered I made a cup of tea about half an hour ago and it sat just the other side of my microphone out of my reach. It's probably cold by now. So I might have to make another one when I finish doing this. So there we go, that one goes that way round. Got a string of glue there, let's just pull that away. Okay, and then two more red ones, and then the gold for the middle. The solid one I'm going to use foam for so it sticks out. And again, I'm just making sure I've got that the right way round, which I have. This is looking really pretty. It's very festive. There we go. Peel off these tops and then stick it in position there. And then the final red layer will be glued on. It's going to go on there. There we go. So Oh, I've just moved that round, so I don't know which bit was supposed to stick where. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, there. And then finally, we've got the middle of the poinsettia, which is a white bit on the bottom and then a gold bit on top. And I'm going to glue this. You could foam it if you want to, but it's already quite thick. So I think just for the sake of making it easier, I will glue it. It doesn't really matter which way round you put this bit. Bit more glue. But do try and match up the gold bit to the edges of the white bit. There. My gold card I used actually quite thick, so it looks 3D, even though I didn't use any foam. Just add the lid to the back of my glue again. And there we go. There is our finished poinsettia with all of the beautiful leaves in the background. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to cut and assemble the layered poinsettia design from the Christmas Craft Countdown 2021. Here it is all in its frame, and you can see I've added a couple of layers of scrapbook paper to the background to give it a little bit of extra visual interest and to draw the attention to the poinsettia in the middle of the frame. Don't forget to get this file, head to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021. I'll see you again tomorrow for day 2 of the Christmas Craft Countdown. Thank you for watching. Bye!